gentlemen, going back into this, we are waiting for game number 2. Naisou, how do you feel after that game 1?
Man, I mean, I knew it was going to be good, right? I knew this series was going to be good. Over these past couple of days, and just in terms of this entire tournament for Liga Adarna, I've gotten to see and familiarize myself with these teams, and it's so nice to see them in the finals. And I just think it's a great opportunity to show the skill of all these female players. I mean, they're better than me. Let me just throw it out there. They're better than me, man. And I like to yep. And I like to acknowledge, just again, seeing some of these players, especially like Sly, Fuyu on the Fiora and everything. And in terms of the series, like, I just think this is going to be hopefully hopefully it goes to 5 games. I would really like to see it go to 5 games. I think in terms of game number 2, we're going to have to see if NXP can control Genki Amory's Fuyu. I don't know. I would be surprised if Fiora isn't banned or something. I just think, Fuyu has picked Fiora, I don't know how many times, quite a few times in these games, more than 3-4 of these games. So it's going to be interesting to see how they answer Genki Amory's lineup here, because most likely if it's Genki Amory might try to lock that Fiora in again. It's such a strong pick. And again, we're going to have to see going to the jungler matchups here, Angela versus Hazel. I'm sure Angela there is wanting to really show her skill as a jungler, because she's an amazing jungler. It's just time and time again, Hazel on the Shyvana really pulls it off on getting those objectives. So again, it's going to be very interesting for a game 2, and I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, it merits a ban, to be honest. I mean, Fuyu on the Fiora is no joke. And, going back to what you said, when it comes to these female players, just makes you feel so happy to see that, there are female players that are better than males. Chubby's rank is higher than mine. She's that good of a player. I cannot do half the things they're doing right now. And that was only game number 1, ladies and gentlemen. My God, if you are looking for high action, you found it right here. Grand Finals, GK is up 1 game. What's the answer going to be for Nexplay? Is the Fiora going to merit a ban? Is a Braum a requirement to ban out or something? What's the answer going to be? We're going to be finding out once we head into the draft. But one thing's for sure, though. Naisou, we discussed earlier the matchups. It's Bunzi against Chabi. We're seeing Sly going up against Gia. We're seeing so many things in action already. Let's actually just throw it to your other half, Y2K, to break down the drafting for game number 2.
Pinanindigan talaga yung other half eh. But yeah, we are now in the game 2, of course. Genki, Amory, and still NXP Tempest. Probably, siguro, I would really expecting for not really too much aggression this time. I just want to be peaceful for now. Parang parang tamang farming lang, and when it comes to that situation, go into the team fight. Parang syempre depending yan sa pipiliin mong champions, but in this case they really want to have the early advantage. J4 hindi yan mapag level 1 gank kasi alam natin magbabato lang yan ng flag, and together with the clans ay necessary na kailangan. So speaking of bans, still Lux, Diana, Shyvana, Shyvana and Jana. So that's the 4 bans that we need. They got rid of the Shyvana as early as now, pero yun na nga. So when it comes to the picking, syempre Sly sticking with the Braum, and of course Fuyu's Fiora. Self-explanatory, nakikita natin kung paano ang split push capability ni Fuyu and the police factor, which is na nga yung sinabi nila Naisou, and of course Izaq. And now with the counter pick, kahit paano Camille, I understand na Camille completely. Siyempre Ziggs, hindi nila papakulan ng Ziggs. 26 around S tier when it comes to the mid lane, dahil sa kanyang damage output itself, and of course capability to push out the lanes. Pero yun na nga sinasabi ko, Chubby with a Kai'Sa, ayun yung hidden gem na hinihintay nila. Chubby with a Kai'Sa, pero Bunzi with Ezreal. So Ezreal Braum once again, pero this time Kai'Sa Galio. Okay, this is probably a Galio support. So a Kai'Sa Galio combination. So, nandun pa rin yung protection from Galio from the Duran Shield. And of course, a lot of lockdown kung tutuusin. Vi with the Assault and Battery. And of course, Katarina going inside probably Ligation Fisher do the Death Lotus. And of course, Camille going into the fight with either tamang lockdown lang, or probably using the ultimate if for all means necessary, using the ultimatum as the advantage. Okay, so speaking naman sa drafting wise, it's kind of fair for both of them. Like, both of them have the capability to disengage, to have the snowball effect, to have the poking. Kasi nakita natin Ezreal and Ziggs have the certain poke capability. But in terms of team fights, depende na kung how they execute. Hindi ko naman sasabihin kung sinong pabor kasi wala akong mapaboran. It's like I'm really stuck into the middle. Unlike nung game 1 kasi, I really like the composition of Genki Amory. Pero this time, wala akong ma-decide kung sino. And let's go into the ref. Babalik ko na sa ating mga caster. Syempre, Izaq, and of course, Naisou.
Thank
Your
you
other
very
half,
much.
Naisou.
My other half. Thank you.
Yeah,
man.
back to the game, Naisou. I'm actually pretty scared for this Katarina pick, not gonna lie. Satchel Charge, Flag and Drag, Shield of Durand, and then you have the Hextech Ultimatum if need be to lock Hanyu down, to cancel the ultimate. It's a lot to take in if you're the Katarina.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in, but I mean, we mentioned this before the draft. You can see if, again, going by that saying, if it's not broken, don't change it. We pretty much have all the same picks over on Genki Amory, except for Hazel, I believe. Picking up that Vi instead of a Shyvana. So maybe NXP. Maybe they had the little powwow meeting before the game, and they're like, we're going to do this, this, and this to shut down, Fuyu. And Sly has that Braum again, so it's interesting because we got that Galio support pick there with this Kaisa. And we're going to see how they perform, because Galio here is a more valuable pick here, I feel like, especially paired with this Kaisa. And a lot of, especially towards the mid game, when objectives are being taken, we have that hero's entrance, available to NXP. To really base off, the Cataclysm from Jarvan, you have Hextech Ultimatum. So they have all the proper tools on NXP to really lock someone down, target someone down. It's just going to depend if they can execute it.
Yep. I mean, I have to agree. The draft coming in from Nexplay, it's pretty nice. They have the lockdown, they have a dive, they have the disengage and displacement. Not to mention, they have a late game carry in Chabi. Yes, it's not broken. Don't fix it. It's the same old, but then with Hazel on a Vi instead. Do you think this Vi is gonna be that big of a deal that it changes the draft completely?
I mean, I feel like the Vi is a good choice here. I mean, in terms of being able to lock someone down with the Assault and Battery, really realistically, because Chabi on the Kaisa is going to be hard to catch, right? And so I think Vi is a good choice here. Not to mention, she can reduce some armor here, and it's just going to depend if Hazel's able to really perform on the Vi as she was able to perform on the Shyvana previously.
And so far, this is actually pretty peaceful, right? So we don't see much of action just yet. It's a 1k gold advantage in favor right now of Nexplay Tempest. Who's actually looking good in terms of the gold? It's a 200 gold lead for the Camille. We're seeing the difference in 80 carries right now. 400 gold favoring Chabi over Bunzi at the moment. But with a reset coming in from Chabi and Gia, we might see action instead on the top side of the map.
Yeah, and I mean, we have, again, that BF sword is picked up by Chabi, which is a very standard for most Kaisa players, and it's really going to set, NXP up here for this dragon coming up. It looks like it's going to be an ocean Drake for the first one, and you could see, some pings coming out. So we're going to have a standard setup in this early game, readying up for that first Drake. And it's going to be interesting to see if Fuyu decides to stay in that lane, and if Hellgirl stays in there or responds by coming down for this first Drake. Because again, we've seen it time and time again, Drake's being taken, prioritized, and really turning the tides of some of these games.
Yeah, Fuyu is gonna have a very tall task here of either split pushing or joining these fights. And like you said, if Fuyu is able to do the same thing she did in game number 1, it can be a very big deal for Genki to just go absolutely wild. But the thing is, this is a Camille this time. It's not the Akali that's gonna be needed in the team fights. This time, Hellgirl can actually do the same thing that Fuyu's trying to do. And if Fuyu joins into the fights, then by all means, Hellgirl can do the same thing.
Yeah, and the thing about Camille is she's very mobile. You know, I feel like she's much more mobile than obviously a Fiora, and it's nice to see, you know, Hellgirl picking up that Bramble Vest really to be able to go one-on-one with this Fiora. And you know, right now Hellgirl is playing this very, very well. She definitely is responding to the previous games with Fuyu, so we're gonna see if they decide to stay in this lane. And then the dragon is up now, so as you can see, 4 and 4 members both gathering around the dragon, and we're gonna see if a fight breaks out here. But you still have the 1v1 going on with Hellgirl and Fuyu, and getting very low, but she does have that grand challenge available for the heal. And there you go, the dragon getting taken right there by Hazel, and also the Ocean Drake. But then that's the Mega Inferno Bomb. There's so much damage coming out, and now is the hero's entrance not being able to get them. But Bunzi trying to run for her life. Chabi there, 1 versus 1, takes her out with the damage right there. What a play for NXP as an 0-4, but Genki Amory did secure that Ocean Drake. Was it worth it though, Izaq?
Doesn't seem like it was worth it. It was really, really tough to see. They were able to steal that Ocean Drake, yeah, but then if you think about it, early game, you may have won the dragon fight, but then long term, that's the only time these Drakes are gonna stack up, become beneficial. Because these Drake buffs, they're not gonna disappear. But yes, going back to what we said, Nexplay, Tempest, realizing their strengths, they know they're gonna be able to do it. They just went for it. Bunzi a little, pretty much overestimating herself there, thinking she could actually stand toe-to-toe with Chabi. This is an Icathian Rain empowered Chabi right now. You cannot simply just fight 1v1 with an Ezreal, especially since you only have a Manamune and a Sheen.
Yeah, I mean, Ezreal, you know, not super strong, especially at this point in the game, whereas, you know, Kai'Sa has more damage that are packed into just her kit overall. And as you mentioned, that Icathian Rain just does so much damage, even though it's been worked on a couple times. There's a Hex Tech Ultimatum coming out. It's a 1 versus Fuyu and Hellgirl. Hellgirl gonna go ahead and respect Fuyu and just back off there. And now we can see something happening here for the Rift Herald.
Oh my god, this could be it for Nexplay. Tempest, they're gonna be able to secure that. The dive and the Cataclysm is gonna be able to catch out 3. Now we're gonna be using the Glacial Fissure. Lots of damage though going to the side of Nexplay. They're taking down Hanyu. That's 1 going down for the side of GK. And now being caught out is Bunzi. Bunzi goes down as well, followed up by Hazel. Ladies and gentlemen, 7-0. Objective after objective going to the side of Nexplay. We're seeing a 9,000 gold lead, and it's not any time for Nexplay to slow down because they're taking out the tower. They're taking out Fuyu as well. They could continue for a push, but they're gonna back off because they got what they came for.
NXP is here to play. I mean, it's 0-8. They're 10,000 gold lead at this point, and it's just, you know, further and further going into their hands, because you have to think here at 0-8, and most of those kills are going over to their carries, right? And they're able to get this itemization, and on top of that, they're just so confident in these team fights. They have everything they need. I think one big point here is Gia's Galio. You know, Galio is able to be up front, do some damage, and at the same time land some taunts, not to mention, you know, the ultimate of Galio, the hero's entrance, is so valuable as well. Here comes the initiation right here, the grand challenge being popped, but no commitment right there. And again, this Galio is just very tanky just naturally, and all she has is that Bramble Vest there and a couple other tier 2 items, and she's able to take a beating. And now that's going to be the first turret up in the top lane.
This is where we actually see the big problem that is Ray Ray. You may underestimate Ray Ray because you're looking at so many other things like Chabi, you're looking at Hellgirl and Angela right now, but at the end of it all, who's doing a brunt of the legwork for Nexplay Tempest, it is Ray Ray. The damage dealt, the poke and peel, the zoning, and of course the towers being taken with the last hit of the satchel charge. Ray Ray is doing it all right now, and you can see it. 107, 7.4k gold in her pocket. And what's happening for the Katarina? We discussed the Katarina having a hard time here. She's 0-2 right now. Not a good game for Hanyu. They pick off Hazel right when the Cloud Drake spawns. What does this mean? It's an uncontested Drake while a Herald is pushing down this mid lane. There is a shield from Sly. The Cloud Drake goes to the side and Nexplay. They're trying to zone it out, but you can see the pain, the damage coming in from Nexplay. They can destroy these towers fast because of the satchel charge, and Ziggs is doing it all. Meanwhile, topside, Grand Challenge coming up. Fuyu going up against Hellgirl. Fuyu's gonna be backing away from that. Hellgirl stays alive, and with all things being considered, Nexplay are on a warpath.
Yeah, they really are, and I mean, as you mentioned earlier, you know, the Katarina is supposed to be there, and here we go. Hanyu again, as I was just mentioning, Hanyu on this Katarina having a hard time because, again, just the picks, the champion picks over here by NXP really do a good job at canceling that Katarina out. You know, like you mentioned, you have that satchel charge to cancel that Katarina. You also have Galio, Gia on this Galio, again, so valuable with the taunts, the stuns, and just able to really negate Katarina's kit, and that's what's really making a change in these team fights. Not to mention that spread of all the kills for NXP are very even. And you did mention Ray Ray on the Ziggs. You know, Ray Ray might only be 1-0-7, but she's got the Luden, she has the Rabadons, and she's able to do so much damage and spam just her skills very safely in the distance, and it's really turning the tides of these team fights.
Yep. I mean, if it was me, I would never give this Kaisa away to Chabi. This is already a tough call in itself. At the same time, you have Ray Ray going absolutely wild on the Ziggs. Look at the disparity right now. It's such a huge lead at 13,000. Yes, they're even in terms of dragons, but the towers speak otherwise. The Baron is started right now. Gia zoning them out, and the shield of Duran is going to be key. True Shot Barrage is going to be connecting onto 2. That is going to shove Nexplay away from the Baron, but going back to what we discussed, Naisou, what's happening to Fuyu? We were hyping up the lady so much because it was great what she was doing. The answer's been found. Hellgirl on a Camille is making sure they negate and they suppress the impact that Fuyu brings to the table.
Yeah, I think, you know, that was the answer. Hellgirl, like I said, they must have had some powwow team meeting before this game, and they said, Hellgirl, you know what, you gotta shut down that Fuyu Fiora because she's unstoppable in that game one. You know, she was doing so much pressure around the map, and they found that answer with Hellgirl, and I think Hellgirl's doing an amazing job on this Camille right now. Not to mention, just overall, you know, as you mentioned, Chabi, just one of the best Kaisa players I've seen so far in this tournament, and she's performing so well at 3-0-5, has her items that she needs to really just be online at this point. And now again, you have some action in the bot lane, and they don't have as much vision either. Fuyu being forced to flash out here. Hellgirl gonna go ahead and get that slow off, but she's gonna go ahead and back off, and we could possibly have a team fight here even before a dragon comes up.
This is Fuyu trading away with Hellgirl, and you can see just how fast Hellgirl adapted to the situation. She had such a hard time against Fuyu, and now look at this. Round 2, she's finding a way out of it, and she's winning it in style. Fuyu cannot find an answer to Hellgirl right now, and she is stepping up. But 0-9, and with this kind of lead, it's only a matter of time before the third Drake. There we go, 25 seconds on the clock. It's gonna be spawning. Baron is open as well. Who's at a loss here, Naisou? It's clearly, of course, gonna be GK with what's happening right now, but is there a way back going into this dragon fight?
You know, I think at this point, if I was Genki Amory, I think they really just are trying to delay the game and try to get as much farm as possible to get these items on their champions, because as you can see, Katarina is very far behind in terms of itemization. So they really need to buy time. They might even just give this Drake up because it is a mountain Drake. They could possibly give that up and just to buy time, but it looks like they're going to be fighting for it actually.
There's a dive in coming in from Hazel. It's not going to be able to be stolen. Now, oh my god. Hazel, RIP, you're done. A little too much there. She tried. No cigar. You are gonna go down. That is no jungler for another 30 seconds. And look, in complete textbook fashion, Nexplay Tempest going straight for the Baron.
Yeah, going. They know they can go for this Baron. I mean, again, you know, all the members are up. They have those buffs that they need. They're full health. They're healthy. They're going to grab that Baron, and now they have the Baron power play available to them. And now they can start really knocking on these tier 2 turrets in the top or the bottom, and even push into the last turret in the middle lane.
It's crazy to think how Sly was so dominant on that Braum, and it got completely shut down by Gia. Gia right now on this Galio is just absolutely huge. We're seeing stats on Sly right now, and it's looking good. Yeah, you have the Bramble, you have Solari, you have the heal up, you're transitioning for the Random Omen, you got it already. But Gia, on the other hand, the Galio is gonna be even bigger. You have all of the items ready that Sly is going for, but instead of the Solari, you go for the Stone Plate. You want to stay alive, and it's slowly transitioning to, what's that? It's going to be a Visage or a Force of Nature for Gia. With those kinds of items, do you really think Gia's going to be going down easy? No, they're going to need to commit even more, and this support has stepped up even more as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Ray Ray's doing a great job on this Ziggs, really just demolishing turrets left and right. And as you mentioned, when it comes to itemization, there's just, right now, Genki Amory is behind in itemization, right? And at much, even if they get into a team fight, they're at the losing end here, because you have just too much items for NXP, and you can see the dive right there. They're so confident because they have that Baron power play. There you go, the Mega Inferno Ball, the Hero's Entrance coming out. There's the taunt right there as well, and the dash, and that's just going to knock everybody up. The Assault Battery going off. And there you go, Katarina, but unfortunately Hanyu just does not have the damage. Now they're working on the Nexus. This could very well be the NXP with the game, ladies and gentlemen. There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly what you want to see. We have ourselves a series. 1-1 right now. Genki Amory and Nexplay Tempest. Let us have, of course, the other half of Naisou to break it down for you guys. Y2K coming at you.
Okay. So, a quick breakdown na nangyari. So, mabilis lang to. Hindi ito yung super complicated na nangyari sa mga kaninang matches. First of all, pakita ng graph kung okay lang naman. There we go. Yan talaga yung landslide na graph. Nakita ko sa comments kanina habang medyo nagmo-moderate ako ng onte. Napansin talaga nila yung early spike na 10k gold advantage for the side of NXP. Paano nangyari yan? First of all, ito. Yung 5-minute mark, around 5-minute mark, the dragon fight, the ocean dragon fight, nakuha ng Genki Amory. Pero out of nowhere, dahil sa lineup dito ng NXP and also the damage that they can really dish, napag 4k sila doon. And then, sabihin natin naka-retaliate sila kahit papano, but ano talaga, parang yung damage is, again, not enough. Parang parang na-behind sila on that early game. And then getting other objectives, getting the Herald, getting the other dragons, of course, the Baron power play pagdating sa mid-game pa to actually, hindi pa to late game eh. So pakita natin yung sa Champions Graph. There you go. With that damage, with that being said, Chubby's damage and also Ray Ray doing a lot of damage to the backline. Also, Chubby have the repositioning of the Killer Instinct together with Gia's backup, and syempre Angela with the combo, Cataclysm combo. Nakita ko naman na nag-retaliate kahit paparo dito yung Genki Amory with Hazel being the assault battery initiator, who you trying to split push but always intercepted by Hellgirl, which is a good thing na ginawa dito ng NXP Tempest, na kahit paano they want to negate the Fiora on pushing out the lanes. Also, Bunzi really tried her best in keeping away NXP, and of course dishing some damage, pero yun nga kapag nagamit pa ni Arcane Shift, papasukin ka talaga dito ni Hellgirl. Oh, hindi naman si Hellgirl, si Angela. And then Hanyu, marami nga akong nakita sa comment na ano talaga si Hanyu, parang na early disadvantage. Which is, hindi naman dahil sa Ziggs, but on the team fights na pinasukan nila. Like sobrang naging behind siya on the damage, sobrang naging behind siya on the utilities that she's using. But I cannot really blame her on picking the Katarina. Katarina is a comfort pick isa sa mga comfort pick dito ni Hanyu. But probably poorly executed lang talaga. And then yung sabi ko nga kanina, wala akong pinapaboran sa lineup kasi both of them can really utilize well. Pero again, NXP Tempest really utilizing their composition more and more. Syempre, they know the advantage, they know the disadvantage, at of course, they know how to utilize it. At worth it naman para sa kanila with a 15-0 score courtesy of NXP Tempest. So that's 1-1. Lab set nga, kumbaga. But this is best of 5, guys. Hindi to BO3. Of course, meron pa tayong secured na yung 4th game natin. So 1-1 to eh. Meron na tayong 4th game. At tingnan ko, makabawi ba dito ang Genki Amory or NXP will have the momentum going. Pero syempre, sa mga nasa comment section, ano lang tayo dyan, chill lang tayo dyan. Ang dami ko nakikita ang toxicity around dyan. Keep it clean talaga, keep it chill, and wag tayo papaano sa toxicity. Iyakan center, mga ganun, wag tayong papadala doon. So, let's get back to our casters. Of course, Izaq and my other half ng ating hot and sexy duo, Naisou. Take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, man. Every time, man. But there we go. And I guess, Izaq, I guess we're going to have this game 3 to look forward to. So I think we're going to be taking a little break, I believe. And so everybody sit tight. We are going to be taking a 10-minute break or so. And we'll be back for game 3.